Have you been here all weekend?
Saturday and Sunday, Friday I flew in, so.
Yeah.
But it's been fantastic. Everybody's been so sweet, and I mean, I love Colorado. I used to go to camp here and summer camp here, so I love Colorado. Really happy to be back.
Is there any special place that you like to go visit, or an eatery in town that you're like, I remember?
Well, I never spent that much time in Denver. I would spend most of my time in the Rockies, like camping, and we do horsepacking trips and backpacking trips, and there was one special moment in the camp where they would, you know, leave you out there for 4 days. You got a sandwich, an orange, and a tarp, and that was kind of it. And I didn't realize how many show tunes I knew at like 11. I was thinking, happening.
I'm excited. Did you learn any survival skills that you still could pass along?
Singing is definitely a survival skill. I knew how to put a cache in the stream to keep my things cold, and I knew how to put up my tarp and to make sure, you know, in case it rained or something.
Yeah.
But I love being outside. Like I love being in a sleepy bag and looking up at the stars. Like I'll never ever forget when I was at camp here. It was in Glen Haven. It's called Chile, Colorado Camps, and I lived in a covered wagon with no heat or electricity. And there was like 4 women to a covered wagon. And I remember one night I stuck my head out the tarp of the covered wagon, and there was a double rainbow around the moon.
Oh, wow.
It was insane. It was so, so beautiful. So I love Colorado. It has so many sweet memories. Like that feeling of when you get above the tree line and how the air gets so clear.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just love it.
I do love it too. It's very peaceful here.
Yeah. Do you ever go camping or anything?
I love camping. Who likes to camp? Does everyone? It is so much better floating down a river.
Yeah.
You get on a tube, put your drinks in another tube, and floating down the river. It's so much fun. And I think that getting back to nature is so lovely because you can almost, it's like grounding yourself and remembering that you're special. Every one of us is so special, and that we are gifted this day to enjoy.
Yes.
And it really makes me reflect that whenever I'm outside.
Yes, me too. And it makes you remember the source from which you come, you know. It's like it's so much bigger and more beautiful and effulgent than you can possibly imagine.
Yeah, it makes your problems, the problems that you have, seem insignificant. Because there's so many things that are bigger out there than us, and our problems really aren't as much as we make them to be, because life is very special.
Yes, and you can still have all those feelings about how challenging things are, but you know, I'm such a hippie. I always find that like when I hug a tree, those feelings get like calmed down a little bit. It doesn't mean they completely go away, but my whole nervous system just calms down a little bit.
Yeah. Is that what you do whenever you're feeling like, oh, I need to take a step away?
Oh my God, my family pushes me out of the door so fast.
Like you need a break, go take a break.
Like during COVID, you know, when I would get a little restless, like, can you just please just put on snowshoes and go out in the forest for the betterment of this family. Please just go. So yeah.
That's awesome. I know that obviously we know you from Flashdance and the L Word, which has been so special. Did you ever think when you were younger, this is what you would be doing with your life, was I was going to get into acting and this was where my career was, or did you have a different direction in mind when you were young?
You know, it's so crazy, I didn't really even think about a career. Like the earliest I can recall thinking about a career was when I was 6 or something, and I was washing dishes with my mom, and I thought, wow, this is so fun. Maybe I can be a dishwasher when I grow up. Like that was my earliest recollection. And then I wanted to be a jockey because I loved horses. And then I got too tall. And I think the moral of the story is I just kept pursuing that thing that I enjoyed, like the thing that brought me joy. And then I discovered acting, and I was like, wow, that's amazing. I'll never forget, I played Hoddle, Fiddler on the Roof, and I just kind of left my body and just, and just experience this other person for a while, and it was such a joy and relief kind of simultaneously that I thought, oh, I really like this, but I never thought someone would pay me to do it. Like I just thought I would go and do it for fun, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's great because it's almost a release in that sense that you can emote any of those emotions or things that you had going on when you're acting, you probably performing, you can push out those feelings.
Yeah, like it's even deeper than that. Like you're engaging with ideas, you're engaging with energy. You know, like I learned about, I took the Force very seriously, like, you know, and it's been such a pleasure, because I worked with Brendan Fraser on a film called Twilight of the Gold, and it's been such a pleasure getting to spend time with him,
Yeah.
because he's so open, and the exchange of energy is so clear when you're acting with him, that it's just like an incredible pleasure. So there's the emotional aspect, but it's not, I don't know, like it doesn't feel like my emotions in a way, even though I know I'm like the source or the conduit for it.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's a really, I'm gonna have to think about that, because it's more like about ideas and energy and how can I be helpful by telling the story, and yeah, I want to be helpful, like that's.
Yeah, can you feel Brendan's energy right now? He's on a different stage at this very moment. Can you feel it? Did you run into him at all this weekend?
Oh yeah, we had lunch and, you know, hung out and talked and reminisced, and yeah, I just feel really connected to him. I don't know, it's very interesting. Well, when he played my younger brother, and it was a very challenging family dynamic in the film. And so when you live through that with someone, like you create a bond, you have a bond, and that will never go away, like for as long as we live.
Those are long days, I'm sure, to be able to bond and connect with somebody else being on set for hours upon hours.
Yeah, but you know what's interesting is that it doesn't feel like it's that long when you're really connected to somebody. Like it's when you're having to really craft through things and get to the other side when scenes aren't working well, or there's, you know, problems on set or whatever, that's when the days are really long. But when you're flowing with somebody, like I'm sure everybody's experienced that, when you're in the flow, like the time seems to go by so quickly. It's when you're at work and it's like the boss is being a jerk or something, and the day feels really, really long, I'm sure.
Yeah. When was the moment that you knew you had made an impact on others' lives?
Oh, with the L word, I have a letter that I keep in my phone. There's a fan letter that I keep, but I went, oh, yeah, that's why I did the L word, for this person, for this express reason. And then I realized that that person was not singular, that there were so many other people that the L word had supported in some way, or held up a mirror in some way, you know.
Yeah, and you just recently started doing conventions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get to see that now here.
You know, it's really fun. I've met so many really amazing people.
Yeah.
Like so many really cool, beautiful people. So I'm really happy.
What was the best interaction so far this weekend?
Oh, there's no best. There's just so many. Like everybody is like, you know, this individual, incredible. Like, and there's an openness in Denver, like that I find pretty spectacular. Like people are pretty open energetically. It's really nice.
Yeah.
But I did a book. I'm a photographer, and I did a book where I had taken photos from the very first day of rehearsal to our last day of shooting. And I made a book of the photos, and I have all kinds of ephemera, like, you know, emails and letters and all kinds of stuff. And I did interviews with cast members and made it available to the public, made it available to fans. And it's one of the other reasons that I wanted to make sure that I come to conventions, because I know that people like to get their books signed, and it's hard, because if you buy it at the store, you can't, you know, get that, and it feels somehow like one extra connection. And so, like, I make sure that I come to try to interact with people and learn something from people.
I mean, I know, but will you tell them, if they don't know, how you got into photography? Because I think the story is super cute.
Well, there's so many stories around that one. Like you're probably thinking of the college story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's an earlier story even that starts in high school with the high school boyfriend, you know, wanting to be in the dark room with him. So there's that part.
No way.
But yeah, I think a lot of people in this room have already heard the story. But I was in college and I was really loved photography, and I did a lot of photography, but I was too shy to take classes, because it's Yale. It's like the Yale's art school. It's like a very well-known art school, and all the teachers, the professors in the photography department were world-renowned. And so I was, too shy to take classes, but my boyfriend was in the class, and so I took a portrait of him. And in the class, what they do is they have all the students put their photographs up on the wall, and the professor goes around and critiques all of the pictures. So it's a very intimidating thing. And I used to sit in on the graduate school critiques, which could be ruthless. So I said to him, I took this picture, do you mind putting it up on the wall and just having, say that you took it as a self-portrait and just tell me what the critique was? And so he came back and told me that his teacher so loved the picture that he asked him to make it his photograph to put in the group show at the end of the year. And he very generously did so, which was very sweet of him. And so then I had a little bit more confidence, and then I started taking photography classes in college and learned so much from my teachers and my fellow classmates. And I love it.
It's always so scary to start something new, but a challenge is great because then that's how you grow and just kind of move forward. Have you ever in life had a moment where you weren't doing so great and maybe you're failing at something? How did you pick yourself back up and press on?
Oh my God, constantly. Okay, so I started to take constantly. Like I just basically learned how to blow dry my hair. Let's start there. Was failing in that all the time. Like COVID, like everybody else is getting master's degree, and I'm like, whoa, I learned how to blow dry my hair. But I recently started taking drawing classes, and in the little program it says it's like a beginning drawing class, and I get there, and everybody is really good. Really good. And they're all like, the median age is probably 80, and they're all fantastic. I'm like, what is, and I say to the teacher, like in a little whiny brat voice, man, I thought this was a beginning class. She said, well, everybody's at their own level. And I'm like, yeah, but she's so good. And the she's so good is like this person had been a graphic designer for 20 years or 30 years, and this other person was a professional artist. Like I was in the class basically with all professional artists, and there was me doing my like sad little goldfish watercolor, where the goldfish looks like it's dying. It is so bad. It's so sad and so bad. But I'm just, like I'm not gonna get any better if I don't try, if I don't continue. And so I am just gonna make a mess, and it's okay to go make a mess. And you may learn one little thing, and that will be your stepping stone to the next thing. And also, everybody in my class was really sweet. They'd come over and go, oh, that's so good, and like you're lying with Thank you, they're really supportive, really sweet.
It's hard not to compare yourself to others. Just in everyday life, it's hard to not compare yourself to what somebody else does and go, well, I'm not as good. But
well, I think normally I don't do that, but it was when they said it was beginners, and somebody else is like doing this Michelangelo thing over there, and I'm like, wow, is that really their beginning thing? And I was like, that's pretty amazing and inspiring, and gosh, maybe I should take an additional class. So I might take another class to try to get.
You love charcoal, is that correct?
I love charcoal.
What has been your
my
favorite
drawings
done?
are so dark and fucked
Yeah?
up. I love, like when I'm in a bad mood, like my family, when they see the charcoals come out, it's like, ooh, should we send her hiking? These are like these demons and crazy things. Like nobody in this room would believe that I do. So, yeah.
What a great outlet to have.
It is. Better that in the charcoal than in my life,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Were you a good student in school? Were you the kind of student who got your homework and did it
Oh
right
yeah, I was a
away?
very, well, I didn't get my homework done right away. Like I was a procrastinator, but I got straight A's, but I was, sometimes 3 a.m. still writing that essay.
Due tomorrow.
Yes, yeah, I wasn't good that way. But, that was one thing I was said to myself during COVID, like I'm gonna break the procrastination thing, which I pretty much have. I'm really excited about that. It's so freeing. It's like, wow, I've got all this extra time, and I'm not stressed out.
How did you break the habit?
Yeah.
After Flashdance took off, were you ever scared that people would just look at you as Alex for the rest of time and that you would be just categorized as this beautiful, sexy woman? Or did you?
No, it wasn't so much that I thought people would think of me as that character all the time, because that's a very career thought. It was a much more existential thing where I remember coming out of the premiere and people looking at me, and I thought, oh, they're looking at me, but they're seeing this other person that's a creation that is not real. And does that mean I'm no longer real? But how does that work? And so, like, I would have these philosophical thoughts that felt like erasure in a way, and having to reclaim my spirit being in my body. I know this is getting really
I love this.
but it wasn't like, oh, career-wise, I thought they will see, because I never even thought to think that way. I've never, ever been a careerist. I don't, there's parts of me that wish I understood that and knew how to do that, but it's not really who I am, so I'm not going to change that. I'd rather just learn to blow dry my hair.
Being yourself is I think something that nowadays we're really starting to own more and more is being your genuine, authentic self.
Yes, but archetypally there are many selves, so which self are you?
Yeah, a good compilation, I think, makes a well-rounded person.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. In L Word, you guys are on for a while, you disappear for a little while, then you come back. How did you deal with that transition from, there's a gap in time between
Oh, you mean
L Word?
from the original Albert to when we came back?
Yeah.
Well, I did a bunch of other films, because you think, you're done.
Yeah.
And so I did a bunch of other films and played all these amazing characters. Like Book of Eli is like a great movie, and I love that character, and some dark, kind of messed up people, like a Swamp Thing, like that was fun. Just did a bunch of other characters, and Bet kind of laid the groundwork for those characters, and one of my favorite of which is Margot Taft in The Last Tycoon. And then Kate, Alicia, and I started noticing, because there was no Twitter, there was no social media on the original L Word.
Yeah.
And then we started noticing, and this is like, I don't know, how many years later, like 5 years later, maybe more, that the L Word is being mentioned on social media. It's like, well, that's interesting, because it's been off the air for a while, and we marveled in a depressed way how nothing had taken the L Word's place. You have this successful show that's run for 6 years, and we thought, oh, certainly there will be another sapphic-centered or queer-centric show, and then there wasn't. But we started noticing this conversation on social media, and then we started noticing this new generation that talked about gender and sexuality in a completely different way. Talking about, your authentic self and identity. They were like, those are your words. That is not how we describe ourselves. So guess what? We are going to change the English language, and you are going to refer to us how we want to be referred to, which was so extraordinary.
Yeah.
Like, that's bravery and intelligence all in one. And we thought, okay, we should have a show that centers this generation. Like, this is who needs to take the stage. And so we went to Eileen, who was working on a little show called Empire, so she was busy. But eventually, we went out, and the L Word Generation Q came on air for 3 seasons, and our hope is that there will be another iteration of the L Word.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Did you feel pressure to represent the LGBTQ community in a certain light?
No, because bed is so complicated that what am I gonna do? Yeah.
Very much so.
You know what I mean? It's like I'm not gonna all of a sudden, she's not gonna like go for sainthood. Yeah. And I think that's the you know, the most helpful thing is to convey people on their complexity and all their complexity, not just like a cardboard cutout of who, you know, you'd like to be seen as or who you want people
People are complex. I mean, extremely complex. There's so
Yeah.
many layers to us.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go on any different avenue for any character, personality trait, and somebody in the audience is going to relate to it.
Yes,
There's just
yeah.
such variety in
Yes,
humans.
yeah, and in a way, the more specific you are, the more relatable it is. It's when you start to generalize that it's hard to connect, you know?
I have a few pre-submitted fan questions if we could go through.
Sure.
them. Marcos from Albuquerque wants to know, when you first took on Flashdance, did you ever imagine it would define a generation? And how do you personally feel about its legacy today?
I never thought it would define a generation. I just thought, oh wow, look, I get to play a great character and pay for college. This is awesome. Because my mom did not pay a dime for my education. I paid for my education myself, which I'm really, really proud of. And what was the second part of the question again?
How do you personally feel about its legacy today?
So what do you think the legacy is?
80s icon.
Okay. And I think for me the most powerful theme of the film is to follow your dream.
Yes.
So I hope that legacy stays. Like beyond the whole 80s nostalgia, that there's a, you know, connection to that idea.
There's definitely a heartfelt, this passion that comes from Alex.
Yeah.
That is what is so almost engrossing, like that you can just feel how that passion come off of her.
Yes, and I think she's very much, you know, other. Like it's like you don't see her mother and father, and I love that people, and there's sort of quintessential American literature story of the orphan almost, and how they create themselves. Like, I think a lot of people, whether that was conscious or not, but dipped into that, like hooked into that, that we all have the ability to create ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, we all have the ability to choose what narrative we tell ourselves, and that so clearly defines who we become and how we relate to other people.
I think we all find that throughout our lives at different times in our life.
Yeah.
That everybody finds it. It might take you a little longer, or for somebody else it might be a little sooner.
Yeah.
But that everybody finds it eventually.
And then it changes again.
Yeah.
It changes again, and it
Keep
changes
evolving.
again. Yeah,
Yeah, it's fabulous. Delilah from Providence asks, you've portrayed characters that are unapologetically complex. What's your process for finding the emotional core of someone who might seem guarded on the surface?
Well, what are they guarding? What is the insecurity that they're guarding? What is the thing that you want to protect? You know, why do you need to guard anything? That's the first question. Like, what are you guarding?
Oh, I like that. Almost creating a little backstory for
constantly.
yourself to tell.
Yeah.
Tristan from Reno wants to know, the L word changed the television landscape. How did the responsibility of that representation impact your performance as Bette Porter?
It's funny, I felt like my responsibility is to my character. And if I take responsibility for my character, then that would be the best representation that I could possibly offer, because I cannot take responsibility of the LGBTQ community. It's not a monolith, you know, it's not possible, and it's not possible to act that. All I can do is play this person to the best of my ability and hope that that is helpful.
And That translates.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yvette from Tallahassee asks, in Swamp Thing and Boba Fett, you step into genre roles with rich world building. Do you approach sci-fi or fantasy characters differently than grounded dramas?
No. Not at all. Which is why Garza is so cool. Because I mean, I had so many cool conversations with Dave and John about her backstory, and you know, if you've lived through those times and you're the person who has water, enough water to have plants, you know, in that world, you are a total badass and you've been through something. And I just said, can I have a scar? Can I have a scar? Because I've been through war. And you cannot tell me that I did not go through violence. Like, there's no way. And they said, absolutely. And so in the last scene you can see when I have the gold dress, there's like this scar right across her breastbone right there. And with the character in Swamp Thing, it's the same thing. It's just like, okay, what and who do you want to protect? And to what degree are you willing to go to protect them? And so that was my boy, and you know, I will take you out. That's how that was gonna be.
I think we're all going to be looking for that scar now.
Yes.
Then we'll all know it was your idea.
But they had already had ideas, like they were thinking the same thing. So we were just on the same page.
Wavelength?
Yeah,
That's
for
awesome.
sure, for sure.
Corinne from Des Moines asks, you've consistently used your platform to uplift women and marginalized voices. Was there a turning point in your career where you realized you could do more than just act?
That was probably on the L Word. Yeah. I learned so much from so many people on that show, and so many, you know, we were also invited to different charity events, you know, in the LGBT community, and so I got to meet all these amazing activists. I was like, wow, like they are so ferocious and so brilliant and so fearless. Like I couldn't even imagine that, and so just even being in proximity and trying to be helpful to whatever organization they were working on, I learned so much.
And we're learning so much from you today.
And mostly, like I have to be honest, like the trans activists were incredible. They were just so smart and not, you know, they just wouldn't take no for an answer. And it was just incredible to see. And I remember I was working on a campaign and we were in some town hall and these activists, you know, kept coming back at the person who was speaking. And I turned to the person who had taken me there and I was like, who is that group of people? Because I want to know them. Like how do I get to know them? Because, you know, they didn't just sit down quietly and go, oh, okay, you know, please oppress me. It was getting up and saying, no, this is what we need and this is what we want and you represent us. So you've got to go and, you know, take care of business.
No, and many times I would say a lot of us sit quiet when you want to say something, but you might be scared to say something, and you sit back. So it's always refreshing and nice to have those people who do stand up and speak up and say what you want. And somebody has to be brave and do it.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, not all of us can be, but there's always somebody.
Yes, but we can learn how. And sometimes you don't even know what to say. Like, you feel it, but you don't know what to say. And then to have another group of people model that for you is really a beautiful thing.
This one's from Emilio out in Fresno. You have a background in literature and intellectual pursuits. Do you ever bring that academic mindset into your script analysis or role prep?
To a certain degree, sometimes. To a certain degree, but not entirely, but it's much more intuitive, but it depends on the part, I guess. Yeah.
Do you ever do like research for that part?
100%. I love doing research.
Yeah.
I love research. It's like a little, you know, life raft in a way.
Roland from Wichita asks, if you could design your dream role, any time period, genre, or character type, what would it be and who would you want to direct it?
You know, I don't know who I want to direct it, but I know I talk about playing a witch, like I really want to play a witch, but I also want to play, I really want to play a witch.
can see
But
it.
I
I can
also
see
want to
it.
play like a warrior nun, and I thought that show was so cool, and I'm just sick that it's not on the air anymore. So it's like, wait, I wanted to play a warrior nun. But I can see that, like something with magical realism, I would really like that. And you know, my version of Unforgiven where I'm a warrior nun witch. Oh, that's so funny. Oh my god. I don't know, we're gonna have to break that down on the way to the airport. Who would I want to direct it? I have no idea. No idea.
No favorites.
Well, I gotta think. That's a really specific genre. I don't know.
J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure who that
I
would be.
think Bruce Campbell could do that. He's here. Get some ideas going. Tanisha from Mobile wants to know, you've worked with some phenomenal women across all of your projects. Is there someone you haven't worked with yet, but that's on your collaboration bucket list?
I don't have a collaboration bucket list.
Do you have a bucket list at all? Like
No,
anybody you would just
I
want to
have
work
a
with?
0 bucket list in life.
Oh, I love
I don't have that. It just feels too much like, oh God, another list. It feels like a lot of pressure. I don't know if I want that. Yeah, I don't have a bucket list. It's like I just say to the universe, where would you like me to be and how can I be most helpful? And who do I get to work with? That's kind of it. Yeah.
No, I like that. Yeah, it's a good answer.
Well, but sometimes like it would be great to know, but I just don't know.
Just going with the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, feel the vibe. Like whatever feels good in the moment.
Yeah, but it, you know, it would also be smart to like actually be able to write to someone and say, hey, let's go work together. I'm gonna work on that. See, I've got so much homework after this panel.
It's something to do in the future. You should always have, something to look forward to,
Yeah,
some goals
yeah.
to reach.
Well, I don't think the goals thing, but I like the idea of, okay, who do you want to connect with? Like, whose work do you love that you can picture yourself in their world and their imagination and stuff like that? I think that would be great. Like, I don't want to should on myself, but I think that might be a good exercise. Let me put it that way.
Ezra from Boise asks, what do you hope younger generations take away from your body of work, especially as they rediscover your earlier films and series through streaming?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I don't even think of my work that way. I would just say to follow their joy, just follow your joy as much as humanly possible.
You're a mom. What has been the most special moment for you being a mother? And the hardest?
Giving birth is the best. Was really amazing. Yeah.
Can I ask you just a couple fun questions before I let you go? They have nothing to do with anything.
I may say no, but
Yeah, they have nothing to do with anything at all. They're just random questions, no career, just fun.
okay.
And we just had the 4th of July,
Yes.
and some of us are not feeling very patriotic, but we're still all here and happy to be alive.
Yes.
The 4th of July is a great party, at least, for some drinking and fun. What's your favorite food to have during the holiday?
4th of July?
Yes.
I think the 4th of July, I'm not a big fan of the 4th of July. Anybody who has dogs is perhaps not a big fan of the 4th of July.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, when are the fireworks that are supposed to look like bombs going off? When's that part over? I like the barbecue part.
Yes.
But I remember seeing a poem recently that's saying, those who can enjoy fireworks have lived a very particular kind of life. Because the fireworks are designed to mimic what it was to have bombs going off. And so I think we're at a time in the world, as beautiful as the fireworks are, and this is my, I guess, intellect coming in, but when I see them, I think of all those people who are experiencing actual bombs, and it makes me so sad. And I'm very sad for my country.
We'll hope that, though, sometimes you need a little shake-up And I think right now that's where our country is in this shake-up. You know, sometimes you gotta shake somebody, shake them, so that way they can start thinking correctly again, get on the right path again. Let's refocus, and hopefully we can refocus our country to be that great melting pot that the founding fathers wanted us to always
but we
have.
were never that. Like that's also this mythology, and it's beautiful to try to be that and try to emulate that, but it also requires, like in life, that you look at what is true. And we are here and we need to love each other.
Yes.
That is the first and foremost thing, because everybody is going to die. Like, isn't this a fun panel? Because everybody's gonna die.
Yeah.
And we must, it is incumbent upon all of us to take care of one another and to look one another in the eye and see that person, because that person's gonna be gone at one point, and what can you do that is out of love? And when I see, you know, people being deported and put in jails, and I see, you know, women losing bodily sovereignty, and when I see like an administration try to erase a whole group of people, it makes me so sad. And I think there has been such an atrocious sort of bait and switch where people got sucked up into culture wars. Like it's like, oh, we're gonna do the culture war over here, and in the meantime we're gonna rob you, and we are going to take away the middle class, and we are just going to enrich ourselves. And that makes me so angry, and there is a very good reason why I live in Canada. You know, as much as I love my country, it is so painful and enraging, and I hope it is what you say, that it's a shakeup.
We can only hope. I mean, and that's the great thing about hope. I mean, and you see it a lot in the Star Wars films, right? Of hope. It's always there. As long as somebody believes, as long as one person believes in hope, it will never die.
Yes,
and I believe
yeah.
that it's, you know, we can all hold on to that.
Yeah, and then though,
You gotta stand up and do something.
It's like, you know, those trans activists, like at some point you gotta stand up and go, oh no more.
Yes,
like
somebody
no
has to be
more.
brave. Yes. What are you obsessed with right now? A television series, music, art? What is one thing that when you go back to your hotel room, you can't wait to dive into a bag of Doritos, whatever it is?
Were you in my hotel room? Yeah, last night was definitely the chips and the guacamole.
Fantastic.
What am I obsessed with? I've been reading so much because along with Eileen Shakin and our co-founder and CEO Pam Druckerman, we started a company called Runamuck, which is a multimedia company. And so I've been reading so much material to see, okay, you know, what story should we be telling? What should we be doing? So I'm obsessively reading. And there's an author named Emily Austin who I'm obsessed with her voice. She's pretty amazing. Yeah, just a lot of reading.
It's good. It's awesome. Last question. Who do you root for? The hero or the villain?
Well, I root for the hero, and I hope that the villain will discover their kindness.
Yeah.
You know, because that's when it's really interesting. Like to me, when you see and this is of course in fiction, not in real life.
No, not at all.
Because then, man, I do not root for the villain. And y'all know who you are. Yeah, actively not. But in fiction, like to me, which is what's so fascinating, is to see that flawed villain, that person who was once tender-hearted and then somehow was damaged enough to forget their goodness. And how painful that must be to forget your goodness. I can think of nothing more horrendous. You know?
Well, she's not a maniac. She's actually a lovely person.
I'm sorry this panel was such a bummer. Like, I have no ukulele or magic tricks or nothing, no fun stuff. It's like, let's talk about philosophy.
Serious. It's all serious.
Oh, the world is so, not the world, the US is becoming crazy. Not becoming is. But thank you all for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here.
Jennifer Beals, everyone.